I am a mental health nurse. I have been a nurse for 5 years now, and I've been married almost 5 years as well. And my husband is Chris, and we have these adorable 17-month-old corrected babies, Maya and Alexis, who were born at 24 weeks. They weighed 1 pound 7 and 1 pound 9. They said to me, yeah, it's definitely your membranes, but I was fortunate at the time because I wasn't dilated, so there was hope. But at that point, they told me that it was a 50-50 chance of survival based on their gestational age. So then I was transferred to Sunnybrook, as they were the first hospital to say they had a bed. Unfortunately, what happened was I got to Sunnybrook at about 11 p.m. and they took me right up to labor and delivery, and I got checked out and they said, no, you're not dilated. So I was thankful but worried as heck. And then they transferred me to the high-risk labor and delivery side. So at that point I thought, okay, I guess I have to prepare myself for possibly months of this. And it was quite scary because at that time I had taken a new position that I had just started at the beginning of September. So all of that was going through my head. And then they told me at 1 o'clock in the morning or so that my husband wasn't able to stay. Overnight, I just kind of got a lot of cramping and just was in and out of the bathroom quite a lot. And, you know, the nurse came in and said that apparently cramping is common after you have a ruptured membrane. And then between maybe around 5 to about 7:30, it just intensified and it was getting more regular. So I was getting very scared. So at that point, someone did check me, and I was 8 centimeters dilated. And this was a Tuesday morning, 7:45, and they're like, well, we have to take you immediately to the OR because they hadn't visualized them on an ultrasound. And, you know, everybody was scrambling at that point. And so as they're wheeling me from the room to the OR, I'm on the phone, first of all, with my husband, left him a frantic message because he was in the shower, said, get here right now. Then I left a message I spoke with my mom and said, you guys need to get here. And so nobody was there, I was by myself. My pregnancy was actually going perfect. I was in the beginning, I guess they were just kind of monitoring me for potential high blood pressure, but it was just starting to creep up just a tiny bit. But other than that, I had an ultrasound that Monday morning, and everything was perfect. So I knew that it could be a risk, but I never thought that would happen to me. You know, you just never think that. You never think that way. My OB said that he was hoping like that term with someone carrying twins would be about 36 weeks. Right. So I thought, okay, that's fine. Right. And I honestly never gave any more thought to anything. I thought, okay, maybe they'll be a little bit smaller, whatever. Yeah. You know, I wasn't even showing at the time, really. Like I just had gotten maybe a little bit of a shelf. What happened was I'm on the table, like they're trying to visualize the babies, and I'm contracting, and there are about 20 odd people, maybe even more, I don't even remember, in the room. And while I'm contracting, I remember somebody with the mask, whatever, they're all, you know, donned in their OR surgical attire. And they said to me, what do you want done for the babies? I'll never forget that. You know,
as in, do you want
yeah, basically, right. Yeah. To what extent do you want, intervention wise?
And this is after they're born?
No,
while you're in labor.
Yeah, while I'm contracting, in the midst of them trying to, did they have an IV, or maybe they were trying to change something? I don't know. They were just trying to get a visual, and then they found with Maya, I didn't know what I was having either, but twin A was very low. And they said that I would have to push because they would risk killing her basically if they had to go in and pull her up. Right. And so I had no idea what I was doing. They're telling me to push, and I'm like, I haven't gotten to that point yet. What do I know about this, right? So, and you know, here I'm contracting in a ton of pain and no medication other than Tylenol, right? I never had time for anything. But yeah, she was born. And I remember just yelling, what did I have? What did I have? And I didn't really even see anything. I didn't see her, didn't see a baby, nothing. Like, didn't hear anything, just whisked away. And I just kept yelling, what did I have? What did I have? Finally, somebody told me. And then the next second, I remember them saying something to the effect of, well, we're going to try, maybe we can keep the other baby in. And I thought, oh God, that's going to be weird, but whatever, you know, at that point, do whatever you need to do. But then suddenly I heard them saying that with Alexis, her heart rate had dropped considerably. And I just said, put me out, put me out, put me out. So they did. And because there was no time to do an epidural or spinal. So yeah, I had a general anesthetic. I was knocked out. And then when I woke up, I was still alone. And then I said to the nurse, what did I have? And where's my phone? Like, is anybody here yet? Is my husband here? And she said she didn't think so. But she said, I think your parents are there in the waiting room. And I said, well, I need my phone because I don't want my parents to know what we had before my husband knows. Right. So I phoned him, and he was walking through Emerge, and he had brought his mom. I guess boys run in his family, and he's an only child, but I guess if you track the lineage, it's all male. So we had boy names picked out, and we just, he was shocked, to say the least, that they were girls. They were in intensive care basically from the day they were born until April 23rd. So it was a month. No, 4.5, December. Yeah, it was 4.5 months. So they were, it was a month after their original due date, that they were in the hospital. So with preemies, there's always the chronological age. So they will be 2, December 4th. So God, I have to think about how old they really are. Corrected based on when they should have been born. So their corrected age is basically 16 months. They'll be 17 months corrected on the 23rd of August. And then they also, to make matters even more complicated, they have a hearing age. Because both the girls have permanent hearing loss, we discovered that after a conglomerate of hearing tests back last summer. So the hearing age is calculated basically from the time that they got their hearing aids. So with Maya, she got hers basically a year ago. So really she'd be 12 months hearing age, although I think she'd be younger still than that because we've had issues with molds fitting and not fitting, and a nightmare to say the least. Until they are actually speaking, we're not going to know what they're hearing or what they're not hearing until they can clearly articulate what they're hearing. We don't know. From a motor developmental, like from a motor perspective, they're both doing pretty well. Alexis is taking 6 or 7 independent steps. She's very cautious right now. Just she wants to she'll cruise and hold on to all the furniture and get around that way. And she's been crawling for a long time. I can't even tell you, like, everything's just kind of a blur, the months and when they started doing things. But she's been crawling for a while. She's certainly meeting her milestones. Maybe a little behind, I guess, for a 7 or 16-month-old, particularly, I guess, more in terms of the speech piece. She's certainly understanding. If I ask her to go and get me the baby or get me the monkey, she'll go and get it and bring it back. Or can you please hand this to Maya? She'll go and do that. So there's certainly a lot of comprehension. Both my girls can do different signs. We're doing baby signs, not typical ASL stuff, but just, more eat, please and thank you. Maya, on the other hand, is pretty tiny. She is only 17 pounds. And we actually just found out from our pediatrician that she actually hasn't gained weight in the last 3 months. So we're not entirely sure why, but I'd say she's behind more from a motor perspective. All along, she's had weaker core muscles, and preemies always kind of have that propensity for weaker muscles because in utero they never got to a stage where they had to be crunched up, and so they were always kind of sprawled out. So they never really had to engage those muscles. So when they first came home, tummy time was just so important, and those girls basically lived on their tummies. But it took Maya a long time to sit up. She only really started independently sitting up, I'd say maybe 2 months ago. And only about a month ago did she build up the strength to be able to get herself to a sitting position. She's been crawling for a while, but she still does the military crawl. She hasn't gained that strength to crawl on all fours. Her upper body isn't that strong. However, in the last week or two, she's actually started to pull herself up on her knees. And if you hold her upright, she's kind of trying to step a bit, which is phenomenal. Things are slow.